see if I've got this. Is anybody listening? Give me a thumbs up. I hope I'm doing this right. Show me some love in the crowd. I'm not really necessarily sure. Let's see. I'm so glad I got so many of you to just come do this with me. I think I've got to turn some music off because that's what I hear. Okay, I'm here. I've got Darren, my buddy, in the background. I don't know. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and if it looks like I've got the controls going. Thank you very much. Okay, here we go. I am Will Sullivan, and for those of you who've known me, I've been the museum guy. I worked in New York City for my entire life. I left a big job at the Met about a year ago, and for the past almost year, I've been building a company called Aspiring Better Human. So, who am I? Will Sullivan from New York, who used to do museums, and now I really want to just build a community of people who find love and kindness and really support the people who do all of the hard work. So that's a little bit about me. The 150 million guests my teams served over the years that I was there taught me to understand people, absolutely love the roar of a crowd, the crush of people, and more importantly than the guests or the visitors, I fell in love with my team. I absolutely worked with the best people out there. And if it wasn't for all the experience of working with them, I wouldn't be who I am today. So hopefully a few of you are out there, and I'd really, really love to have you ask some questions. So I am brand new to this. I've been on many other shows, and Darren, who will join us in a little bit, has taught me a couple of tricks. He's really a good guy. And I got to secretly tell you, I wanted Darren because I've got this thing for accents, and he just doesn't sound like us Americans. He doesn't sound like he's from New York, but you'll see that in a minute. Let me tell you who I am not. I am not trying to do this to be some sort of expert or coach, even though LinkedIn doesn't give you too many options. You have to pick a category. What I'm trying to do with Aspiring Better Human is to really build a community. And I wanted to not be labeled. I just don't like labels. So my intent with this show is to be able to do a weekly series, bring people on, take your questions, and I am less interesting than all of you out there. So I always thrive from the energy of a crowd. Let's see, I'm going to check my notes because I think this is what professionals do. They check their notes. What this is all about. This isn't about perfection. I had this idea for the longest time and took the plunge this weekend. I just posted that I was going to do this. And then when there was more than just a niece or a nephew agreeing to attend, I thought, well, I should figure out how to do this. And because of people like Darren, who's the guest, and many, many others, and I really hope to get those that have inspired me to do this on this broadcast, because if I'm sitting here in my living room in Manhattan, self-taught, figuring this all out, anyone could do it. And that's what I want to be able to do. The last thing, why? Why do you want to listen to me? Why do you want to do this? It's because I truly believe that the world is in a new place. We've been through hell. Let's face it, we're going through hell. Everything is upside down. And my entire life was centered around being the nice guy who was just thrown into impossible situations and just figured it out, not because I knew what to do. I'm just nosy, I'm curious, I love people, and I have been able to figure things out from those around me. And that's what I hope everyone is able to do. Build that community, really tell your story, be yourself, and invite other people to come talk to you. Before I turn it over to Darren, Met folks, if any of you are listening out there, I had a very special planned reunion of the Will and Grace show, 1 year later. Grace couldn't make it today, so I had to figure out someone else that has ancestry from the British Isles and, somewhere in Great Britain. So Darren had no choice because of him being just a great guy, and I'm going to bring him up on stage. So while I bring Darren, before I bring Darren on, I met him, right, and many, many others on this platform because I was eager to figure out how to do what I'm doing today, build this, and he gives the best tips. So Darren, you are my coach and you are going to help me. I'm going to now click a button and you will magically appear. Did you do it?
You've
Hey,
done it, Will.
say hello to everybody, Darren.
Hello, everybody. Lovely to see you all. So my name's Darren, and Will, that's a hell of an introduction to be giving me. I'm really quite honored. Well, I would have been honored. I mean, I'm the first guest, but second choice guest, but the accent gets me in the back door. So I'm happy, brother. I'm happy. Lovely to be here, my friend.
I needed your humor. I needed your support. And as you think about doing this, right? Um, hey, you dragged me onto one of your shows, and don't tell anybody in the audience. But when you invited me to do an improv with Kathy, Kathy's another person everybody who needs to follow. I thought I was going to an audio room. I had no idea, and so I was trying to balance an iPad on my lap as I was on screen with you. So
Right.
um,
Okay.
I yeah, you figure you need to work on it a little bit. So, Darren, I'm going to go through the questions here because I'm going to do question and answer later. But seriously, because I have fell in love with this platform, and the only social media I really do is LinkedIn and a couple of posts on Instagram. You've got a really interesting story. Many people know my story from following the profile, but you're a transplant, right? Here I am in New York speaking to you in Spain, but tell me, tell the audience, tell this community about you.
Yes. Yeah. So, well, my background, Will, is that I was a high school teacher for the best part of a decade. So I loved teaching. Teaching's always been something that's really interested me. I had a couple of really bad teachers when I was younger, and I very much decided that I wanted to go into education so that I could have the students that I taught wouldn't kind of have to go through similar experiences as to what I did. So I did that for the best part of a decade and absolutely loved it. I moved to Spain because Scotland is bloody freezing. Lovely accent, but we're speaking through chattering teeth half the time, Will, right? So I thought, Spain sounds like a good idea. So I moved to Spain and was working for a British school over here. And I hope they are listening, actually. I got tired of watching millionaires suck the joy out of
Yeah.
children's learning. I really did, right? And I thought, I've got to change this. So I started doing business to business English teaching, but with a focus on storytelling and presentation skills. Again, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really feel you're a big one for purpose. Well, I didn't really feel I was having a purpose. I felt it was a nice break for an hour a week for people who are having classes. I'm sure they learned, they certainly progressed, but I didn't really have that burning desire quite inside quite as much. So then the pandemic came and, well, ruined it all for everyone, didn't it? So I wasn't able to teach face to face. And I thought, geez, I'm going to leave this hellhole of a situation with something that I didn't have when I walked in. So started doing storytelling on LinkedIn, working with people as storytelling clients. And naturally, a bit like I think yourself, Mr. Sullivan, you're going to see, you just start seeing people connecting and asking you questions. And it was really people wanting to know about storytelling and LinkedIn strategy. What was I doing and so on. So started doing some one-to-one clients back in August, had 32 of them through, which was incredible. Loved working with every single one, and just gone on to launch that video accelerator that I'm in the pre-launch phase of just now. So yeah, that's me in a very, very quick, probably the worst story I've ever told, but you get the idea.
No, but really about the storytelling and LinkedIn in general. The very first time, I mean, I had a LinkedIn account from, forever ago, but never used it. And the first time I posted something that was personal really was nerve wracking because I had only used it to post open jobs or talk about my work, my job. And so
Yeah.
when I posted something personal and started to see that people were interested in it, it was like, wow, there's something bigger. So from the comfort of your own living room, you start telling stories. And I've been fortunate enough that there have been people that actually want to listen. I see you're getting in closer.
I
So
am.
thank you for that. There's a bunch of people here in the chat. I want to say hey to Jesse. He's from San Antonio. So we've got New York covered. We've got Spain covered. There's Joseph. Hey there, Joseph. I know you're down there in Florida. And Joseph is one of my soul brothers, same name as my brother and pretty much the same attitude. We've got Mary from Texas. We've got a Texas thing going on. We've got Ghana in the house. We have Ahmud. I don't know where you're from, but I just say Great to have you here. There's my brother Joseph again saying, hey, David Hansen. Everybody needs to know David Hansen. I think maybe you do, Darren. He's
I do. He's
one
awesome.
of the, oh my God, he's one of the kindest people I've ever met.
Beautiful
And
man.
he's out there in California. So, hey there, David, and supporting me from the very, very beginning. Then we've got Jennifer. Oh my God. Another Texas. I don't know. This is a Texas thing going on here. Lots of people from Texas.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect for Texas. No politics, but the people are good. I've got family there, right? So here we go. David Alto. I think you're. Oh, there's David Alto. You're
Hey,
somewhere
David.
on the West Coast. I think you're some up there in Washington. Not the
David's
DC.
got a big farm, I'm pretty sure. Well, I've one of the things that strikes me or it sticks out in my mind about David was a video. What was it, David? Let me know in the comments. What was it you were harvesting? Some kind of fruit, but it looked amazing. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think
Fun
he
fact.
owns it. I think he owns an island in Hawaii. He and his wife have just posted the most incredible pictures lately.
Oh,
So
very nice indeed. It's
yes.
all right for some, you know.
Ahmed from India. Very, very good to see you. Let's see. We've got Jesse here again. We've got Bronx in the house. That's where Dad is from. My dad's originally from. The Irish roots there, for sure. We've got Florence. Hey there, Florence. Really, really good to see you. Darian, or as we used to call him, Darius. We used to work back at the Met. Great,
Very
great people at the
nice.
Met. Everybody, if you haven't been to the Met lately, go there. Go see Darian. Tell him I sent you. Let's see. Anybody else? Anybody else? I want to make sure I say hello. Oh, there's May. She's just become family here for me in New York. My husband and she worked together with another close friend, and we just became family over the years. So that's my hellos. If I forgot someone, you just have to forgive me because this is the very first time that I've done this. I'd really love to get some questions from the group here. So, any question? What do you want to know from me? Anything you want to know from Darren? It's just one of these things that I'm excited to be able to host someone. And if you've got such knowledge with you here, Darren, anybody can ask you a question, right? You could
Try.
teach everybody what to do.
That's it. Any stories? But any stories? Any any stories? But any questions about storytelling, LinkedIn content creation, all these sorts of things you can ask away. Questions about Scotland as well. I dare say you can ask those as well. Well, I've got a question for you, my friend.
Certainly.
What was the moment that you decided? Can you really remember? You spoke about posting that first post. It was that little story, that personal element, right? And you're right, Will. It's bloody nerve-wracking because as human beings, you're an aspiring better human. I think everyone watching this is, but we naturally don't want to share these vulnerabilities. I feel that we're taught from a young age that when we share vulnerabilities, we open ourselves up to vulnerability, and that
Right.
can be exploited, which is why we don't do it very often. So, what was it that really made you click post on that first post that you made about yourself?
I should be careful because I don't want it to come off negative. But
Okay.
you, like all of us, totally during the pandemic, and it's a moment of us all questioning things. To give you a little bit of background, those who know me, I've probably told the story. The loss of both my parents has a profound effect on anyone, right? It has impact. So we first said goodbye to mom. 5 years ago, we said goodbye to dad. Manuel and I do not have children. And you start to question, okay, what am I going to be when I grow up, right? You're like, you've moved to the head of the line, right? Your parents aren't there. You become, senior in that sort of way. So just started to figure out, count your blessings. What are you good at? What do you do? Pandemic happens, and you're having those questions over and over again. And so here I was, this guy who did what I did without even thinking about it at the museum for so many years. Then I'm thrust into helping a group of people in New York City reopen cultural organizations in the midst of a pandemic. There's no rule book for that. And the moment I set this all up, but I had realized during that experience of trying to help reopen New York, everyone that I worked with, great people at the Met, great people at around New York City, everyone was first and foremost thinking about the people, thinking about the staff. How do you keep them safe? What do you do? We had unfortunately had to say goodbye to people. How do you keep the public safe? And it just, struck me like I can never not work doing anything where it isn't about people first. So I like to talk about that, right? People first. And Jennifer put up a really great question, which leads into what you just said, Darren. The kindness bit, I owe it all to my mom. And if you've watched me, any of my posts or me talk about this, I'd always been thinking my mom was not the Irish person. She was the youngest of 9, Italian American. For some of you who've ever watched films, Moonstruck, Cher and Moonstruck, and that kind of Italian big family and kind of drama is what I grew up with. So I grew up with my mother, the youngest of 9, seven. She had 7 sisters, 6 sisters, 2 brothers, and you were like not beaten, but you were not. You are not in good graces if you didn't address all of the company by name and kiss them hello and say bye. So when I started to work in the real world, introvert, shy, had no idea what I was doing. So Jennifer, your question, I'd always had my mother somewhere within me in saying, you better address that person by their first name. You better say hello. You better make eye contact. You better do this. And what I'd realized is all of those lessons, as much as I joke around saying that they would beat me, it was in being polite. So if I could be polite to not upset my mother, and if I could be kind to people, I could make myself comfortable. So that's really where it came from. Another long answer. I give long answers. I'm going to look in the chat now. I don't know if you saw any questions that struck you.
Yeah, I thought a really nice question was from our good friend David Hansen. David, my brother, how are you? Well, what would your mom, I'm going to have to say mum, I can't do the
Oh, you're the mum.
Sorry,
Yeah, you're
I'm a
mum.
mum. What would your mum have to say about your first broadcast and what you're doing with your life now? That's a beautiful question, David.
Thank you for that question, David. I think of her all the time, and her presence is always around me. She'd be the biggest cheerleader, and it has been said often, and anyone who's lost parents or lost anyone but lost a parent, no one in your life will ever be as proud of you as your mom. It's for me, so as much as I have support and love from friends and family and my husband, no one, you'll never get that love. And so she would have been, she'd probably be sitting there in the living room, yeah. She would have brought a bunch of friends and she would have just watched. And she would have been cheering me on, even if it was just the two of us on this call, talking to one another.
Beautiful.
I have a LinkedIn user who loves Cher. Okay, then tell me what your name is, because who doesn't?
Well, that's it. LinkedIn user makes a pop-up in my stream, in my live stream as well. And always great questions comes from LinkedIn user. One of the best people out there. So
yeah,
we love
really
LinkedIn user.
Now, Jessica, you have a question here. The silver lining of the pandemic was reacquainting with my invulnerable, immortal, and impassioned 21-year-old self. That's really, really great. I follow you, obviously, Jessica, and you are someone who's lots of light and you're supportive. And I think that is something the pandemic has done. The very thought of doing a broadcast that's live like this would have seemed completely absurd and ridiculous just a little over 2 years ago. Then you're thrown into a Zoom world and you're doing everything on a Zoom call. So it's just a matter of being able to do this. And I think that's a great share. I would say that I went younger than the 21-year-old self. The 21-year-old self, I was a hot mess until my 50s, gotta be honest. So I probably went back to the 8-year-old self and went into like, okay, what were you supposed to be? And all those decades in between, you kind of chalk it up to experience. Let's see, any other questions? Oh, we've got Jesse with a question. Jesse, how can we help others shift to a people first mindset?
Oh,
wow.
What a question that is.
This is how I think. You do it by example. You do it. You don't talk about it. right? Jesse is someone that everybody here should follow. Jesse was another. I've just collected a bunch of people on LinkedIn. It's pretty incredible.
You've got a great community, Will.
Oh, and really interesting people. And Jesse is one who does a show with Jennifer, who asked a question earlier. You show up. And they talk about that. You just show up and you be it, right? Some smart person somewhere said, be the change you want to see in this world. And I think you just show up, and I think through that you're able to do it. This is why I'm so eager to build upon Aspiring Better Human. I love the title, first of all, because it just came to me because of the years of hiring aspiring actors, singers, curators, lawyers, I don't know, politicians who came to work part-time at the Met. And so this stage in my life, I want to be a better person. And I think we all want to be. You don't stop learning. So Jesse is someone that in that circle of people just has that kind of mindset. And to know that there are other people that don't think that I'm crazy or I'm not, stuck in just like middle management job where you're just trying to make everything kind of nice for everyone in that people-pleasing realm. If you can find your way to do great things and being a leader, I say go for it. Okay, let's see. Joseph's got a comment here. I live this daily. My mom was my number one supporter. Joseph, everybody should follow Joseph. He's just absolutely great. Oh no, take that back, Joseph. Jessica's greater than you are because she says I don't look a day over 30. Okay. Maybe I'll send you some flowers. Just give me Venmo you some money. That's very kind of you.
I love it. Would you mind if I jumped in, Will, just very quickly, just with regards to Jesse's question, how can we help others shift to a people-based or people, what was it, it's gone? There we go. Yeah, to a people first mindset. I've got a couple of thoughts on that. I think you're absolutely right. We want to lead by example, right? We want to be showing rather than telling. Telling people to think of others is never going to work. It's really through demonstrating it. I think it's also useful, though, to point out that for a number of different reasons, whether it be people's mental health, whether it be people's past experiences, trust issues, and so on, not everyone's going to come with you on that journey. Not everyone's going to agree to this people first. Some people are just me first, and that's their mindset. And I think it's really important, as you said, Will, so eloquently, to really lead by example, turn up, lead by example. But I think it's also really important for us not to get too hung up on things. If somebody's an asshole to us, somebody's an asshole to us. It's just trying to take that breath and just understand that maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're going through a tough period. Maybe there's an element of jealousy or resentment, or perhaps aren't quite the right words with the sentiment I'm wanting to convey, but certainly that they'd like to be a bit more like you. How's this person managing to be so selfless? I wish I could be like that. And quite often it's a little bit like the bullies in the playground back at school, right? There's usually insecure people in there who have elements of jealousy and resentment. So I think you give perfect example there of just leading by that example of showing, not telling, but also just not beating ourselves. As much as we'd all like to change the world one step at a time, and really, like you do so beautifully, Will, having a community around you who aligns to your values. I always say to people when it comes to content creation on LinkedIn, storytelling, you don't have to be for everyone. You're not everyone's expert. There's not enough hours in the day for it. You want people to think, yeah, Will is my expert. And when Will is my expert, they follow you in that way. Don't focus too much time on looking to convert at the beginning, especially. Look for those who will support you on your journey, because we have strength in numbers, brother. Just a little think that I've got.
So, Darren, in the comments here, people are going crazy all over the place. And I just think you need to be a little bit crazy, right, in order to change things up. The only way that I could put it, because what you just said is so spot on. We're all turned off by this, and I'm not the person who's originated this. No one wants that expert. No one wants a sales pitch. No one wants to hear, oh, I can teach you how to be better and build your business in 3 easy steps. No one wants to do that. And for me, this platform, LinkedIn platform, has been so fantastic because you could just be yourself. And people don't like your content, they don't need to follow you. It's quite that simple. And if you do need to, if you really want to preach, there may be platforms that you can do that, but that's not for me. So thank you for that. Let's
No,
see.
with you.
Oh, all the way from South America. This is my sister-in-law, Patricia, and my 8-year-old nephew is watching. Oi,
Oh,
Eduardo. Everybody speaking Portuguese. Oi, Dudu.
oi, Dudu.
Saudades. Here we've got Jennifer again. Darren, you're speaking the truth. It is okay to accept some people in our lives to help us know where we need to go. Jennifer was one early on. I forget exactly, Jen, how we connected, but I think it was your show with Jesse. I just thought your energy was great. What's this guy from New York who doesn't even know owning a hammer or a screwdriver, working with a bunch of construction people? But I guess I was drawn to you. That's what my brother, my real brother Joseph does, and we're as different as day and night, but solid gold heart, and just I think that's what draws you to people, right? The heart and soul. Okay, let's see. Darren, a question for Darren. What should people know if they want to start a live broadcast show? I can tell you
Oh.
just what's up, Darren, and tell him he's on your show in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's basically all you need to do, Dave. I tell you what. First of all, you need to follow Travis Lackner on LinkedIn. He is the king of the live stream. Shri Maibar as well is another excellent one to be following. I think really it's a case of a little bit like Will. I mean, Will, you were sharing this story earlier on. I'm sure you won't. I hope you don't. Bloody well, hope you don't mind me sharing this.
What did I say? What do I say? I talk a lot. I forget. So be careful.
This idea that you decided that you wanted to go live, you created the event, and then you hit that moment. Oh, geez. StreamYard or Restream or what exactly do I do? I think what you did, Will, is what I'd advise David to do. Set a date, maybe 4 days in advance. 4 days is nice. 7 days, people tend to forget and so on. So I'd have a set the LinkedIn event 4 days in advance to what you want to be broadcasting it. Then using, this is StreamYard, or you can use Restream, free accounts there. You can get 30-day trials. Just go on and just go for it. Really think about what it is that you want to do. Will's doing incredible. Quick round of applause, please. Let's give the clapping hands emoji to Mr. William Sullivan for this. This is awesome. Let's all give it up for him.
Thank you.
But just going live, if you've got no real, have an idea what you want to talk about without speaking to Will directly, this is very much the feeling I'm getting from this as both a viewer and a participant. This is Will really announcing himself on the live stream stage, who he is, what he's about, what he believes in, and he's taking it from there. That's a really nice first one to get on. Get a guest on, David, if you're feeling that you want that little bit of support. Speak to somebody within your amazing community, see if they want to jump on. I'd always be available as well if you like, and just go for it. Always have a kind of theme for what you're going to be doing. I thought I was going to go live by myself a lot, and it turns out I'm booked out till the end of July with guests. So I think the main thing is have the same day, the same time every week. Be consistent and just go for it. Think, what do I want to share with the world today? And just go for it. Let it go. I think having the audience participation and just going with the flow would be my main advice there. Well, what would you say? What would your advice be for that first live stream, brother?
I think what you just said. I've been talking and been threatening to do this, and I've been waiting. Yeah, I have been wanting to get. I've never met a microphone or a screen that I didn't like, so I'm really super. I wanted to do it, and over this weekend, I really had that. Like, what are you waiting for? What do you? And through working with you and knowing you, or people who work with you, there are resources out there. Attend one of yours or anyone's who's on this platform giving useful tips how to be better at it. And then I figured, okay, someone on one of these broadcasts taught me, you apply for LinkedIn Live, right? There was a process, and I did, and they accepted me. And it just sat there in my inbox. I never did anything. So I finally said, I'm going to do this. And then more than just 2 people said they would attend or that they were interested. And so what do? You go back to all the stuff that we've been learning, all the tips you gave me. And Darren, I'll never forget early on when I was posting, I saw one of your posts where it said, your posts are just boring. Nobody wants to read them. You didn't say it to me, but it was one of your moments. I was like, wow, this is interesting. And you get tips. Now, I'm a very different personality than your personality and many others. And that's what is so great. So David Hanson, I won't be shy. Darren and I'll come together on yours.
Absolutely.
Make it your flavor. So I know we're at the 12:30 mark. Did I miss any other questions or any other people? If I did, you have to forgive me because this is my first time around.
I'd also say, Will, you're killing it because I've got a little beady eye here. As much as I say vanity metrics, blah, 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 and they are blah, 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 I've got a beady eye just looking at how many people are watching this. You've been consistent for the last 30 minutes, brother. What that tells me is that you've got this wonderful community who really dig what you do, really dig what you say, and dig how you think. They're watching this because they're drawn towards you. You're doing this for the right way to do it, so to speak, because you're wanting to share this. This is so important, and it's really what I'd say to anyone. Just take that plunge when it comes to live streaming. If you've got something that you think is of value and you want to explore a different way of doing things, just go for it. And for me, my objective with getting lots of different guests on was, I'm a nerd. I love learning. It just so happens that my first 3 guests have been storytellers, and Michael on Friday as well. I don't know how that's happened. But just lots of different people from different realms, and just learning, having that conversation, discussing. It's like the Joe Rogan show with less conspiracy theories and casual racism. That's why I like to think about it.
I think that you're absolutely right, because I'm a nerd and I'm a geek, and everything that's come my way is because of the people that I've been surrounded with. And so I really think that we did a good job. So Wednesday with Will is going to happen, noon, Wednesday with Will, everybody mark that in your calendars. And I'm so grateful to you, Darren, for coming, because I really wanted to bring people in, because you've inspired me. And if you could bring people on, any platform to be able to give tips to others, I think that's where you succeed. Someone says it, and lots of smart people say smart things. When we lift one, we lift all, or some such thing. It is about using your presence, using your gift. I like to talk. I'm nosy about people. And that's what I think that storytelling is about, because they're not original stories to me, right? I can have a take. All of us have a take on our stories, but when you can promote someone else or really talk about other people's stories, that's where the magic is. Okay, I think we're over. It's 12:33. Let's see, any other comments? Has a powerful community. Thank you, Joseph. Florence, Will, you're doing so good your first time around. Okay, we'll see what my husband says when he gets home from work today. He's my biggest critic and my biggest fan. Great going. Oh, Terry, I'm doing a podcast with Terry. Everybody needs to know Terry. Darren, know Terry. She's really, really great. David will be the president of the fan club. That's very kind of you. Jesse, the guy who's going to have his own network show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. LinkedIn user just says right. That's great. And then lastly, I might have to wrestle you for that role. Love you both so much. So, we can have a president and vice president. David, sorry, the future is female, so I think we're just going to have to give it to Jen. That's all I have to say. And we'll do David. It's a bravo. So I want everybody to just give Darren a round of applause, who really was so much fun, and people should work with you, because you give people the confidence to be able to do this. And that's what I truly, truly appreciate.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on, Will. Genuinely, you're someone that it seems like I speak to you more than I think I speak to my own mother some weeks. So it's lovely to be invited onto your first show. Honestly, it's been a real honor and a privilege. And Will, on behalf of everyone, thank you for doing this, my brother, because when you speak, people listen. You come from the right place, the selfless, loving, giving individual, and that's what you are. So look, round of applause one more time for Mr. William Sullivan, please. You've killed it. And thank you for having me on, my brother.
Thank you. And thanks, everyone. I'll look through the comments later, and I really appreciate the support. We'll cook up something great for next week. So see you next Wednesday. Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Bill. Bye,
Thank
Bill.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.